think we have a super interesting panel. It's unlocking family funds, which everyone's super intrigued by. So we have David Rock, that's second there. He's managing director of Frontier and Brent Fortin.
No, my camera's here.
He's the CIO of the Parent Group A Group. And Jasmine Shi, who's coming on stage. She is a managing partner of As Group. Natalia Sokolova, managing director of SGG World Urban Family Office, and Garrett Chan, portfolio operations manager of One Family Offices. So this is an excellent panel. I hope everyone is having a good time.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Hi, everyone. We are a special panel with some music background. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the VC and LP Summit, hosted by Founders Day and SFI. And you can join us just right before the Chiefs Brokers Day concert later. So, as was introduced earlier, I'm Jasmine, and we're diving into a critical topic of both investors and founders: unlocking the family office funds. Our incredible panel represents each and some of the most respected voices from the single family office. So, without further ado, I would like to have each one of our panelists introduce themselves and what they invested.
I'm Brett Wood. I'm the CEO of Today. It's not my family. I am the other employee. Family is not a typical family office, but they have sole frame house business, and now they're a small investment company. Family still owns and operates companies globally. There's about 17% of the wealth is in the US, everything else is outside the US. And we invite we to invest on both of our money is in private equity spectrum is buyout. We're looking at real estate as really wildly more by strategic planning than just returns.
Hi, my name is Garrett. I am the operations manager at CFM. So I have a introduction is that we were multifamily, we were just want to clarity on that. And my role, my background before joining the board of office is neuroscience. I was the teacher to Stanford for operation for transition startup. So I have a tech background as well as a startup background on top of that. We primarily invested from our private companies that we have some shares in and focus mostly on what that at the moment that may change and having discussed our process and our perspective on emerging venture.
You know, your music. My name is David Robb. I start at Carlisle Group. A long time ago, it was a small firm. It grew very rapidly when I was there, and I punched out because it became very bureaucratic. And so started the family office with chairman of Carlisle, his friend Carlisle, and our efforts together. And we tend to invest directly. We do some co-investing, some public market investing, but 80% of what we do is investing in direct private equity transactions. God has put in my path about 4 unicorns where I was able to get along to a co-founder or a lead investor. So we have a pretty decent track record investing, and we're focusing heavily right now on artificial intelligence, healthcare, other consumer. Our theory is healthcare is kind of a laggard in terms of industries. They're slow to adapt to technology, especially AI. So we're putting a lot of efforts there right now. We also have a big business in mental health in California with a second-largest provider of housing for domestic illness in the state. And we have a military business where we're training the Navy and Air Force pilots in the AI business as well. And so healthcare investments.
Hello, everybody. I'm Natalia Sokolova. I don't think I've ever spoken during the rave music in the background, but my story is a little bit different from the most. Even though I'm second generation family office, my dad is in Switzerland. When I was 17 at the University of Maryland, I was in a car accident and broke my back, and doctors told me that I have 3 days to live and worst best case scenario wheelchair. When something like this happened to you, you realize that you don't follow the path you were given, you create your own path. So rather than me going back to Europe and working for my father, I said, I'm staying here, I'm creating my own life. Dad says, fine, but you're not getting a cent from me. I was like, fine, I don't need anything. So, I've had my first real estate portfolio in my late 20s, sold my online marketing company in mid 20s. So I've worked working my ass off all my life, and now I'm actually doing something with my father. But that taught me that persistent resilience can make anything come true. We founded Virtual Family Offices between my business partner Gary and I about a little bit over a decade ago. Our focus has been primarily in safety and security space. But last year, when I wrote a book about true wealth philosophy, we putting together a venture studio that will encompass that philosophy to the project we source and the deal to help basically humanity and everybody live a more balanced life.
Thank you very much, Natalie, and everyone. So let's start with the macro perspective. Like, what are you looking for in today's digital landscape that were not 5 years ago? So, yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just processes we did see real quick. I think for us, the thing, comparing back to 5 years, is positive. We're really going down the path on other technology and then medical device to very most focused in. And that might put that in wrong for you guys like to set more than that.
Thank you.
So, I want to raise my voice a little bit, that is a lot of music in that background. We're actually very focused on the infrastructure for the next 5 years. We strongly believe that there's insufficient energy and computation to power the next generation applications. New machine learning models, even though they are quantizing, they are getting smaller and currently something small as a laptop and cell phone. The most cutting edge and most powerful models are still going to run big data clusters. They require lots of power and lots of infrastructure to run well. So our thesis is mostly in that direction.
Is there more technology play here for you guys, or is it, you're talking about infrastructure? Is it then the infrastructure technology, or is it
Both traditional and infrastructure technology. So, like some either memory or circuit board manufacturers to like boutique and cooling companies for that are managing these data centers.
So it's the next 5 years, you're saying, or we're focusing?
Well, no, what are you looking for today that you were not looking for 5 years ago?
I think for us, I had a big background in military technology at Carl, so it's kind of natural for me to try to invest in areas where AI was enabling the military to be more lethal, more capable, bring missions home back safely. So got very involved in training, and so this business I have called High Performance. We train the coolest contract is the top 10 program for the USA, so all the top pilots we train from the time you're the best, the time you graduate. And then after you graduate, we train for special missions from the White House and CIA. So we had that interesting program. I think the military is probably the most sophisticated AI customer in the world. They can throw hundreds of people every line of our code. And there's a lot of like online with the president and national security online. So that's a pretty interesting business. We train all of the training pilots. First ones, they got their F-16s from the EU last year. They crashed their plane. The first week, they taught them everyone pilot died. So the Pentagon called us and said, you train these guys early. So that's something that I wasn't believing as much 5 years ago. And I'm also very deep into my sister developed ovarian cancer, and it's kind of surprised all of us. So I'm looking for early detection technology, and came across a really great business spun out of Boston Scientific, which enables people to detect cancer using human breath instead of using blood testing. And it gives the results in real time as opposed to many days or weeks, which traditional tests do as well. So we're putting a big effort in that, very excited about that. And, So the American group here today, love meeting after this. We should be collaborating across all these silos. The problem with healthcare, I think that's 5 years of these silos break down all these different research organizations. There's 112 separate breast cancer foundations in the city of New York. That doesn't make any sense to me. If we're going to beat cancer, we come together as a group and we consolidate all those efforts. So that's but I wasn't really kind of appreciative of doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, 5 years ago, I would not even think about that. I'll be a true wealth philosophy and creating, a studio that would welcome a lot of proven technologies to help people in different areas of life. But a little bit like David's story, when my 11-year-old got diagnosed 2 years ago with nephrotic syndrome, and it's a molecular disease, I'm doing a lot more research with everybody on stem cell. They're called the wellness, med tech, and those are the areas that, because I see there's so many kids are getting with autism and nephrotic syndrome, other disease lately than there never been. So part of the effort that we're going to be making is going to go to those areas as well, and just continue focusing on our safety and security, to enhancing lives of the communities with technology to protect them, as well providing supply for law enforcement and just other areas of our community. With AI, I think AI is a really amazing tool, and you cannot really run a business without embracing it. But we don't invest in just pure AI plays. It has to be a tool for something bigger than that.
Thank you, Natalia. So, when you invest in things, I'd like to ask for this question for each one of the family offices. What is your family office balancing act between the startup investment direct or commitment to venture funds, right? And then further, how does their thesis alignment impact your decision?
Broadly speaking, I really don't like the vast majority of funds. I feel, and this is speaking to the fund managers out there, you guys are just a combination of FOMO, spray and pray, and reaping and pillaging of fees. We're not your partner. I become your investor.
That is so funny.
Do whatever you want with it. The time period, unless I'm doing where you're studio street, I'm kind of stuck with you. If you would stay focused on the hand, because I don't like we were to lose money, but it's have style there, stay close to what we're going to invest, reinvest in the original investment pieces.
So, to clarify, we don't have any venture stake or any capital positions in venture funds. But if we did, I would definitely say that we have to fit with our complementary to our long-term investment on our macro trends, as well as, or in addition, diversification areas that we're not as comfortable with. They have a good track record, lead investors, good due diligence areas that we do not have expertise
Um, I'll keep my controversial comments to them. It's credit to the job. Okay? But no, seriously, at this stage of my life, I just want to solve really big problems with my capital. Really. Just big things. I think you get rewarded at the end. I don't see a lot of venture funds that are really independent thinking. I see it. I see a lot. Really loud.
Well,
Hello?
yeah, I think all of the mics went out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One.
Okay. So back to independent thinking. I guess Peter Thiel had a kind of controversial stand a number of years ago when he said he felt like there's a lot of groupthink in the Bay Area, and I agree with that.
Can you turn it up, the volume?
There's no.
How's this? Can you hear me okay?
No.
Even louder?
No, it's
We can shout. Let's just shout.
shout. We'll
Okay.
let it all out.
All right, I'll just shout. Can you hear it?
Shout into the microphone.
Can you hear it in the back?
I think the speaker is the issue.
Okay. So
The speakers.
I agree with Peter to the topic on funds. I'm not averse to investing in funds. I'll do it. I would like to take a GP stake, frankly, when I invest in funds. I think it creates better alignment between us as a family office and the funds. That said, if there are funds that want to tackle really big problems that are, affecting humanity and big independent thinkers, I'm all ears. I'd love to help. I'd love to be involved in partnership with people like that. Let's see. What else would I say about funds?
But do you have kind of maybe the same bad attitude? Okay, how about now? All right. So we're
Yay.
Eh,
these meeting voices. My distaste for funds is limited to VC funds. I don't like PE funds. I don't like any closed-ended fund. Period. I have to do it because it's like VC. You can corner idiots to try to keep on a lot. We just have different deals. But when you're looking at a fund, is going to do with that and say that's for the economies of scale, private for an execution. What's your brother on why you put money direct versus the other fund?
Yeah, I mean, again, about 80% of our portfolio are direct investing, so I don't do a whole lot of fund investing. But once in a while, I'm really good at thinking funds. Usually the dialogue goes around taking cheap stake in the fund, because I think it creates better alignment, so it's just being LP. I agree with you, the larger PE funds, and this is those that have like alma mater, Carlyle Group, I think Blackstone, Carlyle, KKR, once they go public, it's really confusing who they're working for. They're working for public market shareholders or other LPs. And the really, really big funds are making so much money from their entity that I'm not sure how they really work for the capital gain unless I agree with that.
Natalie?
Hello, Amy. So, statistically speaking, about more than 50% of family offices do directs because they want to have more control and more involvement. We do also like pretty much the same ratio, about 80% going into direct. We also, we are largest shareholder and operators of a public company that's, we're moving some of the assets in the venture studio. But everything we finance ourselves. So we didn't have outside partners as of now. We're opening it, but also never with the traditional VC round with the fees and carry. I never believed that you should pay somebody to have access to a deal and they don't care if they lose or win. I mean, if you win, then you should share the profit, right? But just charge commission. So, I mean, I'm very skeptical, and also, I mean, with years in business, I just want to work with good people with the good intentions and have impact's been overused, but really making a difference in people's life on day-to-day basis and knowing that you have done something right, that's where my heart goes. So most of it is direct with good founders and good projects.
Thank you. So, what's consistent? We all know that working with family offices is about building relationships, right? So, what are some of the qualities you guys look for when you invest, and how long generally does it take? Right? I think that a lot of people will come here and say, "Oh, I'm at these family offices," and they kind of expect you to, hear the pitch and just kind of dive right in. So, on average, like how long do you usually know the fund managers or the founders, and then maybe you can give me some like the quickest matching or the longest matching, which is never, but somewhere in between. Thanks.
I think for us, it might be slightly nuanced, but here, you guys approach it. Let's, if we look back at the folks that are here, we're all from family offices. There's a big difference if you, as a founder, send me an email versus David calls, give me a referral. And the difference is you reaching out to me with your best LinkedIn pitch or email. I get on any given day, I get between 80 and 150 completely unsolicited pitch emails a day. I love you guys all, but I actually like my wife and kids more than I like you. Just under your cut, these half hour to an hour every day. And I'm not willing to make that trade because I look at you guys all like basically Chuck Collins, you get a catalog, you write to Macy's or whatever it is, all you think about the furniture, and I just want to trash. So for us, I would say, so I know and I trust that that's what's going to motivate me to do something. And let's talk about your idea of timelines and stuff like that.
So I'll say quickly that referrals also come in above any sort of cold or just unsolicited pitches. So just because either we know or talk, we understand where understand the value proposition. So I definitely say if you have that initial contact, or that have that person refer you. The other thing is that I don't go on an approach. I actually have an agent, an AI agent that looks at the pitch, at the value proposition, and runs its own analysis, a quick valuation, their numbers actually make sense. If, of course, that's in the pitch deck. So, I mean, this is not everyone does it this way. People still write in VCs that still look at every single pitch deck that comes in the mailbox. This is probably what's going to happen in the next 2 years is that you're going to have a program bot with their preferences and it's going to look at what's going on. That's what I'm doing today.
What we look at in transactions, the most important thing for us is size. Once you check the box on technical competence, is this the greatest scientist in this area? Is this a great tech founder? We're really long on humility. We've got to have a humble team. It's so important because nothing ever goes according to plan, right? When we do business plans, and the ability to pivot, there's a direct correlation between humility and the ability to pivot as a management team. I got burned a number of years ago by falling in love with the industry and falling in love with the gizmo. And I used to always tell my guys, Carla, you're never fall in love with those two things, fall in love with the management team. And I fell in love with cloud storage. I was very early in cloud storage with a company called Mega Upload. And I partnered with a guy named Kip.com who had a massive ego, and it got really, really big towards the end. And we made some bad decisions. And we had the first largest website in the world, 500 million users, a really great business. And ego got in the way, and we really hurt the company badly. So for us, that's what we're looking for. Like Natalia said, we also like to solve really big problems in the industry and in the world. If we can put our capital to work to do things that really help move forward humanity in a very significant way, that's really where I like to spend my time.
And just to remind everyone, and for those who are too young to remember, Mega got seized by the U.S. federal government. So there was a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, to Brett's point, yeah, I totally agree. Like all of us get so many emails that honestly they just never get open because every single deal we look at comes from our inner circle by referral, never from the cold outreach. But one of the things, because during this cold outreach may be something interesting. So what we're actually doing right now is creating a community-based, which is a True Wealth Circle by invitation only. So if somebody's trusted, can invite somebody with the founders, investors, then that they can, maybe other people can recommend the project. So putting that together right now so we can open doors to more projects that probably can be seen, but rather than just we have access to at this time.
And maybe I should actually answer your question on timing, at least in our case, and this is probably once a month, probably 3-4 times a year. And these are just broadly looked at as direct deals rather than how we're going to slice up this. 3 or 4 times a year, I wire money before I send the subbox. And in terms of time, we can move from a phone call to execution and deployment and getting in our capital takes me about 45 minutes. So, but if you're a fund, that's going to be when I get around to it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I know that everyone has actually forgotten to answer that question too with the timing. Like, what's your fastest check and what's your slowest check? I think it's hard to beat Brett's 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's because we also have a lot of excess cash to do our office. So I'm particularly we're used to in that world. Like, how quick can you execute?
I mean, I have to say, I tend to be on the slower side, I tend to be a little unthoughtful and say that industry. And what I really like to do, I like to, basically have the founder or the management team see in all kinds of situations, be their family, I like to know these people, like I said, I'll spend more time on that than I will in like technology, but I will in industry probably, because it's all about the people for us. They're not going to have 100 plus the management team. In an unmanaged business like suit manufacturing or carpet manufacturing, rather than that team, an E team, something sexy like biotechnology. It's all about the people. So if it really is all about the people, then it's not I'm a little slow on slow learning. That said, you know, if I see something I really like, I can move it in a couple of days and commit. But without an active,
But isn't there gonna be an impact on how that deal flows coming to you? Because if you have people who press, then there's the thing, we've done this, you have to do your own independent vetting. But I think there's prove me wrong versus I'm not gonna reinvent everything. Which in theory is the thing that allows you to shorten that timeline. And then if just you have the cash to the floor, it's easy for us, if you're saying it's a deep nine figure, I think with the time we get clustered out, that's a very different discussion. I think we probably all have those ones where there's that dollar on there, there could be $1,000 and whatever it is. Now we need to take a deep breath.
yeah, there's definitely a correlation between size and check. And I agree.
Yeah, what about you, Garrett and Natalia?
So I am totally in sync with David. It's all about the people and the team because eventually, you know, those are the people you trust. Technology, everything you can bring specialists and improve it, but people is people you're working with. So the short has been probably a week, but it was the people I knew already and I trusted. So it was just participating in the inside, you know, the friends deal. But usually, yeah, it takes you know, a few months for us to get to know people, to get to know also their families, what they take, everything exactly like you said, because I want to know if I can rely on them. I want to know if I can trust them, and you know, it's all about the trust and community. You know, that's why you know we were putting together as well, because that's you can create something that's more valuable in the long term, that can generate much bigger returns. Because from this relationship, you can inspire others as well. So that's the focus: is trust and community.
Thank you, Natalia. Garrett?
I have no comments on it. I have not heard the check yet. Personally.
Well, either I just did other people's.
Garrett is
It's all
being
good.
So by show of hands in the audience and here on stage, how many people think the market is very volatile right now? Exactly. So during this volatile times, how do you identify has your unemployment changed?
For us, really not at all. And that's simply because my investment horizon that we were talking about, the investment horizon that I've given is expected to be 25 years to forever. So the noise coming out of Washington and one of the wars, crashes and recessions, it's going to happen sometime in the window anyway. So for us, we're not looking at it in and out in 3 years, so it's really unchanged.
Thank you.
It's kind of complicated to explain in a few seconds, but essentially is that how we work looking at how industry or certain factors in global economy have reached critical mass for significant change to happen. We believe that actually is happening in AI. That's why we're writing on the infrastructure play, because demand is going not strictly go to play.
Thank you, Gary.
I think I'm in the same camp and ballpark as Brett on this one. So we're investing very long term. And a number of the investments I have, I've been in my children's games because they're effectively the boss and on these kids. So I'm working for them. And so I can make a longer term bet independent of maybe where some positioning we are in the current business cycle. That said, the government is playing a big role in the macro economy and globally through most Western industrialized democracies. So the volatility in policy making then is concerning, but I think it creates opportunity. So my colleagues and I, we are very active in Washington, D.C. with policy making. We're very active with probably about half of the U.S. Senators. We're very active in their sphere of influence, helping them like really grow business-oriented leaders and practical problem solvers. So that's how we manage some of the volatility in Washington and
Thank you, David.
Yeah,
Natalia?
and we also, we understand that life is evolving so dramatically. So we always try to stay a little bit ahead of the curve, looking at the technologies that will be necessary. But also with all the computer interaction and Zoom and virtual, kids gaming, we really try to put a lot of emphasis on face-to-face and human connection as well. Trying to emphasize that and bring that almost back because it's really quickly disappearing. So from one side, we were looking at the chips and looking at the data centers, looking at the technologies, but on the other, trying to create the communities, life events, or invest in the projects that help to bring people together, help to them, like experiences, basically, some lifestyle brands.
Super. So this is the last question and the most important one.
That's
So
right.
for each one of you, I'd like for you to share with the audience, what are you looking for currently, and what's the most important type of investment that you invest in right now? Because it's a lot of work, it always wants to have, like 2,000 on average term. So what kind of technology are you looking for to deploy, as your top investment that you want to plan right now? Yes, this is
So it's echoing pretty badly. What's the question?
The most important. The most important.
Yeah, what are you looking for specifically from the audience to invest in?
From so I really think there's a lot of hype for us in the data centers, but some of them obviously you have to understand a lot of dynamics because of it. Because when some people build them, they build them by increasing the cost of living of the small businesses and the people in there. So I think it's a great investment and people should look into it, but also do it from the point of humanity and not hurting the little communities where they try to build it around with.
Thank you, Natalia.
The most important thing for me right now is literally using my capital to solve key problems and save as many lives as possible. So I just so happen to have in my pocket the most important thing I'm working on, and that is the small little handheld device, the breathalyzer. And it actively mimics a dog's nose. Dogs can smell cancer, sepsis, and Alzheimer's. So this technology came out of Boston Scientific. That's come from mine, by the way. And what we're doing is user breathes in for 60 seconds, plugs to a phone, and it tells you diagnosis in 3 minutes. So this to me is the most important thing probably I've worked on my entire life. I put a lot of resources and time into it because I believe you can save millions of lives in this country alone. Because the problem with cancer specifically is people catch it too late. My sister caught me ovarian cancer stage 3. My uncle died pancreatic cancer stage 4. And that shouldn't happen. We should catch cancer at stage 1. You have over 90% chance to survive. So that's personally. That's the very most important thing.
I agree with you. I'm investing in it.
So I talked a lot about what technology. I'll say about how we're looking at how companies do that. If they're a big company, we don't want to just laser focus on their core competencies. We want them to be able to understand the product lines, try to impact businesses with the low cost of AI provides, application provides, use do, add on, complement the type of services and products they provide. And if they're a startup, we want them to be laser focused on either getting that traction or getting the results of them before in order to become a profitable company. So this is general answer.
Thank you.
And for us, my 2 most important things right now are commercial real estate and also multifamily global, which absolutely no other district can find anything about. Specific to this room would be we are actively pursuing a play for operational efficiencies within largely exactly these functions. Companies are being evolved really loosely controlled at this point. So there is more what is this going to look like a decade from now is what we're trying to solve.
Thank you guys so much. So join me and give this esteemed panel a round of applause. There we go. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This mic doesn't work. I had to scream. It was working before, but something happened. It's like, so I had a really hard time with this.